Hey guys, welcome back to the Doc and Diana show. Today I am actually trying to overcome one of the biggest challenges that we get from our patients, or that they face or explain to us, that is going on whenever we ask them to make lifestyle changes and eat healthier. One of the first conversations that come up is the cost of organic, cost of whole foods, and trying to convert pantries and that kind of thing. So today what I'm going to do is go in, see what we've got. I'm actually at Walmart. Most of us shop there. It's quick, it's convenient. And so I'm going to look and see what they have in order to kind of meet the criteria for clean, whole, nutrient-dense food, and do that on a budget. So the gauntlet was thrown down that I'm supposed to do this under 20 bucks. Let's see if I can do it. On a side note, when I told my kids what I was doing today to video inside of Walmart, both of them warned me that when the employees see people videoing, they get a little paranoid. So I think my main goal, of course, is to get you the information, but my number 2 goal is to not get kicked out. So wish me luck. Goal number 1, whenever you are wanting to shop whole, dense, nutrient food, is you are going to want to eat from the outside of the store. So anytime you creep into the middle aisles, you're starting to get into processed. So produce section is going to be your friend. And of course, you're always looking for organic. Don't be misguided. That's a big old organic sign over the whole produce wall. It's not all organic. One of the biggest tips for keeping things cost effective is eating in season. So we're in fall now in Oklahoma, and seasonal foods for us for fall are going to be our pears, apples, you also have dates, Brussels sprouts. Of course, you're also going to have your hard squashes like your spaghetti squash, acorn squash, butternuts. So those harder gourd-like squashes are also going to be in season, and that means that they can be locally grown, which is going to also help with cost, especially if we're looking for organic. Of course, pumpkins are in season for fall. Another tip for eating healthy on a budget is knowing your Clean 15 and your Dirty Dozen. This list is put out annually by the EWG, the Environmental Working Group. And of course, this is done according to pesticide levels found in the food. Pesticides are known toxins to gut health. They can cause inflammation, of course, which this drives disease processes. So luckily, our pumpkins are double bonus budget friendly because they don't have to be organic and they are in season. So be sure to check out the link I'm going to leave in the notes for the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And you're just going to want to update that list and knowledge annually as they put out their reports. Sweet potatoes are also an in-season food for fall. All potatoes are listed as a Dirty Dozen item, so this means that I will be budgeting accordingly for an organic option here. Okay, so another fall seasonal veggie are going to be your hard squashes. Personally, I like spaghetti squash and butternut. Never really had acorn. It's on the agenda to try for sure. For this recipe, what I'm going to be doing is the butternut squash. On average, I'm going to need about 4 to 5 ounces of veggies per person. So to stay within budget, I'm going to get about a 2-pound butternut squash to mix in with the pears, and then of course I'm going to have my Brussels sprouts in there as well. So we can have a variety of veggies. I always lean heavier to my veggies. We tend to make our protein the biggest part of our plate, and I'm trying to drive a different focus where I want my veggies, I want those to take up the majority of my plate for my family, and that will also help keep the cost more budget friendly whenever I'm keeping the protein down, because protein is going to be your most expensive. So I'm going to get my butternut squash and make sure it falls within the weight that I want. That way it falls in the budget that I want. I love how they get creative with the labeling. Green labels are often used to distract and make you think that they are more natural, whereas you have not maybe quite the processing that you want, so do your research. Alright, so now I'm choosing my protein. After looking at the grass-fed beef, grass-fed organic turkey options, I'm not a pork lover myself, so I've settled on chicken, and now I'm torn between chicken thighs and drumsticks. Price per pound is going to be the same. For simplicity's sake, I think I'm going to go with the chicken thighs. When you look at it, of course, the label itself says no antibiotics, vegan diet, never fed animal byproducts, and raised cage-free. I will also be doing some additional research on the farm itself once I get home and see what the issue is with it. But you're looking at roughly per pound $3.14. So more than enough for my meal, and then of course leftovers as well, because Doc loves to take leftovers. Alright, so the last piece is going to be my Brussels sprouts. They're going to be on the clean 15, so you don't need to worry. Of course, I wash them in my Thieves veggie wash when I get home, but they don't have to be organic. These are going to come in at $2.24, which is going to put me around $17.40 for my total bill. And look at that, all the great things the Brussels sprouts are going to do for me and my family. Like so many of you, I moonlight as a cashier at Walmart, so let's check out and see how we did. This should be interesting too for some of the produce. $2.46. Squash. I have to look this one up. This is where it gets interesting.
Select from list or key in the item's code.
Oh, look at that. Right there.
Key in the item's code or look up items.
Right. Ooh, look at that. 1909. So dinner for a family of 4 with some leftovers for the next day, less than 20 bucks. Eating healthy on a budget is very doable. I would ultimately call that a success. I did not get thrown out, and I managed to get a meal for 4 under 20 bucks. That is going to be clean, nutrient dense, wholesome, organic, all of the things that we're looking for to try to increase our gut health and nutrient availability. One major tip, of course, is going to be shopping the outside of the store. So the produce section, the meat section, along the walls. And once you start creeping into the inside aisles, remember that's when you start getting into your processed foods that we're, for the most part, wanting to avoid. Tip number 2 that you're going to want to think of and consider when you're wanting to stay within budget is seasonal. You want to eat seasonal. That means that it can be locally grown because it's going to be available in the temperatures that are in your local area. For fall, for us, that's going to be, those things like the dates, the apples, the pears, Brussels sprouts, pumpkins, sweet potatoes, and your hard squashes are in right now. And of course, even within those, to stay even more budget friendly and to continue to help your gut health, we are going to want to look at that Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. So if it's on the Dirty Dozen, you want to make sure that you have budgeted to do organic. And if it's on the Clean 15, organic doesn't really matter. The third tip that we ran across whenever we were trying to stay within budget and do our shopping is portion. We want to make sure we are having the appropriate portion in mind for preparing our meal according to how many people we are going to be serving. We tend to, in the United States, we tend to make our protein the biggest and our veggies kind of shrink, and then most of our veggies are a starch. So we want to keep that in mind, that with our protein, we want to have, I lean more towards about 4 to 6 ounces of protein, and then I make up the rest of the plate with my veggies, which also supports, my family keeping those guidelines in mind as well. So for veggies, if you're doing a salad, a big handful, just imagine a big handful for them. For your other veggies, like we're doing the butternut squash and pears, apples, etc., about 4 to 5 ounces. So I'm taking about an ounce away from my protein. So I'm going to want to go for that higher end of ounces for my veggies. Tip number 4, make sure that you are reading your labels carefully. We can see that they do get a little creative. Using the color green often catches your eye and makes you think more natural. Just make sure you're reading those. Same thing with putting that big organic sign across the entire produce wall. And 90% of what is there on that wall is not organic. So make sure you are just paying attention to those labels and you know what you're getting. Eating healthy on a budget is very possible and doable with a little bit of planning, a little bit of research. Anyone can do this. My family is going to get to enjoy a meal that I'm proud of and that I'm excited that is actually going to benefit them and their health goals and keeping them healthy and boosting their immune system. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends, and tune in next time for another meal, eating healthy on a budget. The final product on my family's dinner table was ended up being paprika baked chicken thighs. I coated that in olive oil. I seasoned with onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I put that in a baggie and just smushed it all around, got everything good and coated. I baked the chicken thighs at 450 degrees for 45 to 55 minutes. Of course, this recipe can be found on my chicken board on Pinterest, so feel free to go follow me. Just look for Diana Edwards. Of course, the oven roasted veggie medley was a combination of cubed up butternut squash, sliced up some pears, and then halved some Brussels sprouts, tossed all of that in some olive oil, added some salt and pepper. That was the only seasoning I used. I threw those on their own baking sheet on parchment paper. I put them in the oven with the chicken because they were both at 450 degrees. I did my veggies for about 30 to 40 minutes. Man, I wish you could have smelled my kitchen. Just be sure to follow me on Pinterest if you want any more ideas.